The Bhagavad Gita is the best known and best loved of the scriptures of India. It is a book, it's based on a story from the Mahabharata, in which the good side in each human being is fighting the bad side in each human being. Most people don't even understand that it's an allegory, but it is. And I was with my guru in 1950 when he wrote most of this. He'd already written some of it. But when I read this book, I said, "Sir, this is the greatest book I have ever read." It is so full of practical, down-to-earth truths, and it guides you so unerringly to the highest truth of all, who you are in relation to God, to time, to eternity. The Bhagavad Gita is the first Hindu scripture I found, and it was, I think, in the Edwin Arnold edition. It's sort of a paraphrase, not really a translation. It's beautiful. You can't go wrong with anything you do with the Gita. But one thing that Yogananda said, and when I had finished reading his interpretations, I said, "Master, this is the greatest book I have ever read." And I mean it, even now I say it. And he said that's because it came from God. And he explained that he tuned in to the consciousness of the writer himself, Vedavyasa, and it was all written through him. Well, he wasn't like a medium, but he raised his consciousness to the level where God could talk through him, did talk through him. This book shows, as I said, the combat that each of us faces between those habits in our minds that pull us downward toward matter, our desire for things, for pleasures, and so on, and that upward tendency, which is our aspiration for perfection. A man in Australia once, many years ago, said to me, "Well, I don't believe in God." I'm sorry if I have the accent wrong, but it was sort of like that. He said, "Well, what can you say about God in such a way that will impress me?" And I paused a second only, and I said, "Why don't you think of God as the highest potential you can imagine in yourself?" And he was sort of stunned by that answer. And he said, "Well, yeah, I can live with that." And in fact, the definition of God is he's the highest aspect that you could possibly attain. This book helps you to attain that state. It helps you to see that when you get rid of a bad quality, let us say anger, you don't lose something of your own nature. This is human nature, is to think, but if I get rid of anger, that's a part of me, it's who I am. It isn't. It's only a part of who you think you are. You are not this ego. And the goal of life is to transcend the ego. And so when you understand who you really are, you no longer are angry. You don't have all those faults. They're simply a sort of blurring of the image. As it says in the Gita, there is no death. All life forms go on and on. He is really saying in the allegory, this is why this book is so important to read. In allegory, he is saying that you go on. Your appearances, your bodies, your so on, these die, but you don't die. And your true self becomes merely transformed. You, when you overcome any single quality that you know is not good for you, once you've overcome it, it's as if you had never had it in the first place. You wonder, what was all the excitement about? It's not difficult. Once you've overcome a fault, it ceases to exist for you. This book is full of encouragement, and it helps you to understand how to become perfect in yourself, how to become always serene. And as I said, it is to me the greatest book I have ever read. I've read many commentaries on the Gita. None of them even touch this one. They're too intellectual. This one came straight from God. Don't take it from me, read it. You'll see what I mean. It's a great book. Joy to you.